If you're a coach and you're using video as a main part of your content strategy, but you are not consistently getting new inbound leads and clients from your videos, I'm gonna show you a really simple video funnel that I use right now, today in 2025, to get consistent inbound leads and clients. And this is usually from about 1 to 2 videos that we're doing per month, strategic videos. And so without further ado, let's dive on in, and you can swipe this cheat sheet and deploy it. It should be right around here in this description section, wherever you're watching the video. Like 2013 is probably the first video that I did for social media, back when I was running my gym, my fitness center. And video has changed a lot. And if you've been in the game for a little while now, like you've been an online coach in fitness or health, and you've been having to do videos, whether for Instagram or Facebook, you've probably seen that there's been a lot of changes. There's been live video used to be a big thing. I remember like 2016, 2017, I started to go live as soon as Facebook basically, I think, stole the idea from Periscope. And I remember I was going live around that time for my fitness center. And then from 2019 to basically 2022, I went live almost every single day. And then live videos stopped being as praised, and then short form video became a really big thing. And obviously it still is. But now the tides are turning again, and long form is absolutely key. In fact, Google and Meta have recently done studies on this. They show that an average consumer, before they're ready to buy a coaching program, they have to consume 7 hours of content from you, 11 different touch points, and 4 different mediums or something like that. Long form content is really important for you if you want to be able to convert more people. And so what most people do with their funnel is they will just fill up the top end, whether it's with ads or organic, or they're friend requesting, or whatever they're doing. They're just trying to fill in as many leads as possible, but very few convert with traditional kind of marketing that is still kind of happening, because they're very outdated tactics. Information itself is a commodity. So like, if we're just giving kind of standard videos or how to, or just kind of teaching and giving information, it's very commoditized. And so what happens is most people's lead nurture process is not converting a lot of clients. And so what I'm going to show you is what is working for me right now, and what I'm teaching to a lot of my clients, because it just freaking crushes. And with that said, this is where I start for everything, right? Is the magic money math. So this is really, really key. You want to be able to pick your magic math number. And so for those of you that are booking sales calls, a lot of times it's going to be centered around sales calls. You booking sales calls is within your control. If you're not booking sales calls, and maybe you're selling through the DMs, or you are selling through some landing pages or whatever, you're going to have to find your magic number. But for this example, we're going to go with sales calls. And so I would pick a number that, for context here, the more you know your numbers, and if you're like, I hate my numbers and I don't know my KPIs, it's like, you're probably not doing super well in your business right now, because every successful entrepreneur I know, every successful athlete, every successful person at some point has tracked their numbers so that they understand what has to be done to be able to get to a certain goal. And so if you've already tracked your numbers previously, then you should have a baseline. But if you don't, you can kind of follow along with this example. So in this example, 50 Zoom calls, sales calls, would be my goal, right? And from there, you're going to want to set a number that you can control. You can't control just magically hopping on sales calls with people, but you can control how many call offers you make to people, right? And so there's a calculator that I give to my clients. This was donated to us by Dave and Lucy Smith with Unipro. And it's really effective, to where you can put in the monthly revenue that you have, your program price, closing rate, and it'll give you roughly how many sales calls or offers you need to make. And so for the majority of coaching businesses that I've at least helped, it's going to be around 2 to 3. So say for this example, your magic number is now, we'll say 3 call offers a day. So basically, if you want to be able to hit your revenue goal, your job is to make 3 call offers today, if that is your magic number. Now, you may be like, how do I do that? So I want you to go back to a previous month that you had success, any element of success, whatever that means for you. Maybe you were in flow, you got more leads, you got more clients that month. And I want you to count every post, every comment, every messenger conversation that led to your record number of sales that month, or at least sales calls. And then fill in the blanks. You need blank amount of Zoom calls to enroll one person. So looking back at your previous, what did it take? Or if your close rate's 50%, you probably need 2 Zoom calls to close one person. And now we could start to figure out the right math, right? So you can actually set a proper goal. And now it could be like, I need blank messenger conversations to get on blank Zoom calls. Look back at previous messenger conversations. How many conversations did it take? And if you don't know, I'm going to give you a simple formula. Now, for those of you who know me, I do not do lots of DMs. I don't do cold DMs. And so when I'm talking about messenger conversations, I'm talking about meaningful conversations, deep conversations with ideal clients. How many comments do you need to get into a certain amount of messenger conversations, right? Or how many inbound leads do you need to be able to get these conversations going? Maybe how many posts do you need to get to a certain amount of comments? This is going to all make sense in a minute, but this is the foundation. I only want to focus for me on the controllable magic number and the money-making moves that are going to get me to that number. And so an example here, if you're like, I don't know where to start, I would say 2 to 3 call offers should be your goal every single day. And if you can't make 2 to 3 call offers, you should be able to have 10 meaningful conversations with warm or hot leads. And if you don't have the ability to have 10 meaningful conversations with warm or hot leads, you need to post content. And if you're like, I am posting content, Jason, you got to post better content. And we're going to go into how to do that here in just a second. Because if you're posting the right content and you're messaging, you're saying the right words in the right way to the right people, you should have people that are the right people raising their hand, commenting, opting in for stuff. And if that's not happening, it's because your message is off. Your message to market is not a match. And so we need to get the message to match the market. All of a sudden, people will start to raise their hand for things. It's really that simple, but most people kind of gloss over that. So the lowdown here is the first step is we want to run what I call a conversion content campaign. I'm going to show you an exact campaign that you can model and run. Then we want to ask people during the video of this campaign to comment for your MicroWin offer, which is basically the new way that we're doing lead magnets. Step 3 is we want to reach out to everyone who comments in Messenger and ask them a few questions to help diagnose a problem they're having. Step 4 is we want to propose some kind of free audit or consultation while giving them the MicroWin offer they're asking for in your video. And then we want to book a free 15 to 20 minute call with those people, or we want to send them a micro VSL and an offer doc if you're selling into DMs. And then step 6, my friend, is we want to send everybody who asked to work with you a payment link. It's really that simple. And typically, I like to send the micro VSL, which is kind of a newer way of doing a VSL, before the sales calls take place. And basically, in a nutshell, a micro VSL is more of a big idea kind of influence video where we are telling our story, we are showing our unique way of doing things, we're shifting a belief, right? The core belief that we need people to believe, as Russell Brunson would call it, like the big domino belief. And we're showing social proof. And so it's really more of a crash course to give people insight, is what that video is. And now we get to the campaign. This is the actual video funnel, okay? But we have a full tutorial on how to run these campaigns. We even have the templates, done for you templates, and all kinds of stuff in here for different types of campaigns that you can run. So if you are curious and you want in, just ask and I'm happy to share. And this is essentially how it works, right? We're going to create some strategic posts designed with great hooks, great call to actions to get people to raise their hand for a video. And this video could be a live, it could be a masterclass that you might do, or a workshop on Zoom, or it could even be a pre-recorded video. And you're basically going to do usually 2 to 3, maybe 4 to 5 posts at the max to a video. And for the purposes of this, we're going to call it a conversion event because it is intended to be a quote unquote funnel. And so we do want to make sure that we are actually converting. Otherwise, we're an underpaid content creator versus an impactful coach who's making money and changing freaking lives, right? And as we do this, we're going to build up a warm list of people that we can now DM, right? And we can then have meaningful conversations with warm leads versus like the cold DM stuff. And now we can book calls with people because we have way more warm and hot leads, which equals more sales. So how this looks, this is one I ran back in February, and this is for fitness coaches specifically. And I was giving them my most up-to-date content strategies. And you could see tons of leads. Everybody here is technically a lead. Why would they comment if they're not interested, right? So what we do is we like, heart all comments. We respond to all comments. And this starts to show Facebook. And then you could do this on Instagram too. It's the same concept. But it starts to show Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're doing this, that like people are interested in this content, and it's going to start showing that content to more people. So you always want to make sure that you're liking, that you're commenting, that you're sending a message so that Meta basically shows this to more people. An example of how this looks is here. This is one I did in my fitness business back in 2020. You can see how timeless this principle is because I still do this today and it works just as well. But this is like a post on Facebook. If I was going to do this live series, you could see tons of leads. And then I did the videos. I know it's harder to see this, but you could see what I call invisible leads. These are all the people that are watching, but maybe not have commented. So there's 560 of them here. And then there is going to be actual leads, people that are commenting and liking it. You see? And then there's going to be your headline and hook, which we'll go into how to do that and the importance of this. And so here's another example that I did. And this was, again, another one for more online health and fitness coaches. And this was a crash course. So this wasn't a live that I did, but it was a crash course, 25-minute video I made. And you could see from both of these examples, the hook is pretty good, right? So when your messaging is dialed in and it matches what your market actually wants, you're going to tend to get a good amount of comments, a good amount of likes. And so you could see here, I put it on YouTube, and it did pretty good for sending it to people that know, like, and trust me, right? 450 views, 21 likes. Now, I don't know how many comments this got, but I do know this video performed really well, which is why I shared it as an example. We've got tons and tons of clients from this one video alone, right? So you could see that this works in many different ways. And just for full transparency, with both of these, I had a long form version of this for both of these. And I also had a couple other short form posts, but they had the same hooks and the same type of call to action, driving people to, in this case, this was a pre-recorded crash course I made. Does that make sense? And so there was more than just those posts. I just want to be transparent and clear. But these were the most important posts that I showed you. That's what generated most of the traffic. And then we have the C5 content framework. This is a video. You can use this for all content. In this example, I'm showing you the video version of it. But you have what's called, so this is like, just for clarity, this is how you like perform on the video. So at this point, I've showed you how to pick your magic money math, right? So you know like what actually has to happen on the back end of this. That's the foundation. That's the direction you need to go, right? It's like a pilot, being able to navigate. You've got to know which direction you're navigating. And then there's the actual steps of how to do it, right? There's how to fill up the actual video and get traffic to it so you can create demand and actually get human beings to consume the content. Now that they're in the content, this is how you funnel them through the entire video. So we have what's called the chance. This is basically your headline. Very important. Your hook. This is the first 7 seconds. And then who it's for, right? You want to have who it's for and maybe even some credibility. So in this particular video, this actually isn't designed for conversions, this video. I'm just trying to be helpful and provide useful value into the marketplace right now. But if this was a video like this, I would probably go a little bit deeper into credibility and into like my story. So like people know that, okay, this dude's an authority. We're going to listen to him. This will usually take you about 10 to 30 seconds. And then here, this will be between 30 seconds to usually 2 minutes. This is where you're going to give a call to action for your MicroWin offer, which I'm going to explain more in just a second. Then you could go into a bit of a story. Typically, story is a great way to kind of move people through to the actual teaching part of your content. It kind of bridges the gap with the topic that you're about to talk about, right? And in this story, you could speak to the problems, you can shift beliefs. So story acts as a bridge. So say the video is about how to lose belly fat. And in the headline, it's like, here's how to lose X amount of belly fat without the things that you hate, right? This is for, so that basically shows who it's for. I did all of that within 5 to 10 seconds. Then I might be like, hey, if you want to see my fat cheat sheet that I created for you, comment down below, or do this, hit this link. So my client, Holly, right? Blah, 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 blah. Holly used to believe that she needed to basically cut all of her carbs out, cut her calories down to 600, and she was miserable. And in fact, she was damaged, blah, 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 blah. And then I would shift them to what I believe, which is like, what you actually need is to learn how to eat right, not just healthy. So you see, I would shift them into what I believe, and that would bridge the gap into what I'm going to teach, right? Which kind of goes into the core. This is where you give them that big insight. It's not about eating healthy. It's about eating right, right? And then I would give them a breakdown, right? Maybe I use a metaphor, an analogy, or a story, right? To be able to help continue to bridge that gap and get them to understand what I'm teaching. And then I would move them into a recap and then the MicroWin offer again. I basically use the same CTA, the same MicroWin offer here. And then I might say, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Might do the CTA one more time. So this kind of goes into what, why, how, now. And I like to call it chance, capture. The core will typically take you anywhere. It's like an accordion, right? It could take you anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. And then the CTA, dynamite, C4, baby. And then C5 is the close. Does that make sense? So when you do this correctly, you'll move people through your entire video. And then you have the MicroWin offer. So the MicroWin offer is helping combat this information as a commodity. The old way of doing lead magnets is literally dead. Like, I'm not just like saying that. Dude, if you've given out PDFs, people don't freaking convert off of PDFs, man. Like, it's got to be really good. But most of the time, it's like bloated PDFs that like nobody reads. They skim over and it's digital dust. They're like these 20-page ebooks that scream made with the ChatGPT. Fancy designs in Canva, zero utility. Nobody implements this, so nobody's trust is built. It feels like homework to your leads. If you're like, hey, read this guide and do it, it's like, nobody's going to freaking do it, man. I mean, you might have like 1% of people that do it. And if you're okay with that, cool. And then it's gated content that doesn't deliver, so they opt in, they skim it, they forget you by Tuesday. The new way to do it that we found is what I call MicroWin offers. So this is a simple tool, an idea, an asset they can use. So with GPTs, I've literally created GPTs and I've had clients do this, and you can create GPTs really easily and give it to people. That's a really easy tool that they can use and get value from. And now they're going to be like, well, damn, now there's some reciprocity in there. You want this to be able to get a tangible result or momentum or clarity within 10 minutes or less. It has to be easy to digest, easy to implement, and easy to remember. And again, reciprocity is built because value is felt. Response goes up, so goodwill goes deeper. And you're not just top of mind. Now they've bookmarked you. They're using it. They love it, and they come back for more. I was doing this still, and I would give a very simple grocery list they can print out, go to the grocery store, right? So it took more than 10 minutes, right? But it was really easy they can follow along with. I've had clients create calorie calculators with GPTs, and it gives people a rough estimate so they get clarity, right, with under 10 minutes. You could do this with a very simple one page that they can print out and put on the refrigerator, maybe to remember proportions to eat. You want to think what's simple, usable, tangible. It's going to give some kind of insight, some kind of tangible result, or be really easy for them to just utilize within minutes. That's what the sky's the limit. You can get creative here, but there's so much we can do. And then I basically just ask them, this is the CTA. With a video, I would typically do this within the first 30 seconds and then towards the end. I'd be like, hey, you want a copy of the MicroWin offer I've been giving out to get 5 to 10 new warm leads a week? DM me micro and I'll send it over, right? So that's the concept of this. And some ways that you can stay in momentum throughout this, if you're going to run this funnel, this is more so my personal. I'm gonna get real and raw here. This is just basically what I do. Okay. So I like to sit in silence for 10 to 20 minutes every morning. It just helps me kind of center myself. Then I follow the content cadence. I do 3, 10, 30 conversations, basically hit your magic number. I'm making sure that I'm growing my audience because we still do want people coming in top of funnel. And so there's multiple strategies. I teach many of them. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you understand how to get leads, right? You should be getting at least 5 to 10 new leads a day. Like, it's very, very easy with Facebook and Instagram to make this happen. And if you're like doing this stuff and you're not getting the results that you hoped for, usually it's because of 3 things. First thing is you might not have the right audience. So like, look at it. Do I have enough of the right ideal clients in my audience? And enough is going to be subjective depending on your goals and all that stuff. But if you have 300 ideal clients on your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, it should be enough. And sometimes at the beginning, you just have to reach out to them. You just have to be like, hey, I've got this video. Would it be helpful to you? The second reason it might not be working, or you getting the results that you're hoping for, is your messaging. If you could say the wrong words to the wrong people, or the wrong words to the right people 1,000,000 times, and you're still not going to get the results you want. So you got to say the right words in the right way to the right people, have a unique angle to it. Bada bing, bada boom. You're going to see it start working. And then the third reason is maybe you're just too vanilla, homie. Stop being so damn vanilla, right? Maybe you have to be more polarizing with your stuff. Maybe, just maybe, you have to get better at your skills. Maybe you have to get better at like writing hooks and headlines and telling your story, at communicating call to actions. Just maybe. We all do, myself included. I've been doing this a long time, and like I'm still trying to always improve my skills. I never consider myself the best in the world because it's not true. I want to always get better, no matter how good you get. Maybe you could be more prolific. If you see a topic that does pop off, dude, use that same topic over and over again. Just change up the hook, change up the stories, change up the call to action, but you can use the same topics. So that is how you start to get some momentum with it. So hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, drop them below. Otherwise, peace. And oh yeah, by the way, I did a video that has a whole template and examples of how to run a live series content campaign. So if you want to swipe it, I'll put it in the description below. You can have it on me. I hope it serves you well. Bye.